that.
Right. I hear you. It's just so, you just never know with Facebook, and they're always changing the rules, and you just never know. Okay, streaming. Let's see if it's up. I think we are live. Let's have a look. Oops. Let's have a look, see if we are there. Yeah, we are now. We are live. Right, let me change it to there because it's right. It's changed to public. So if you want to share it anywhere, you can now share it. And we'll give it a second for people. I'm going to share it right now. Hey to anybody that joins us, say hi in the comments so we know that you're here. I'm just going to share this out. I know there were some people that we wanted to see you today. Let's share it there. Oh, I think Tanya's here. I think Tanya's there. Hey everybody, just bear with us 2 seconds. I wonder if I'm able to tag you, whether that will show it up on. Have you shared it to your wall?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did it the old school way. I just went to your page and waited till I found it.
Brilliant. It's quicker and easier that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Post. I think I've managed to share it everywhere. Okay, so let me click into this so I can see. Right, yeah, Tanya's here. Hey Tanya, it's fine. Don't worry, honey. You know, health first. So guys, we are on Zoom. Hey Bonnie, we're on Zoom. So Alicia can't see, well, she can see the comments because she has her phone by her side, but you know, when you get talking, we might not see them, but I will do my best to read people's comments. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask any questions. We'll do our best to answer those. So I'm going to introduce Alicia to you all. And feel free to share this out or to tag anybody you feel that may be interested or might find some value from this. You all know who I am because you're on my wall, but just in case there's anybody new, I'm SJ, Sylvia Johnstone, and as you know, I am a presenter for Younique, and we have a charity that we support, which you guys may remember it as the Younique Foundation, which we've just had a rebrand. It's now called Saprea, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So Alicia is a lady who has, I don't even know, I don't like to say unfortunately, because that kind of feels like it's I don't know, it just, but she has experienced childhood sexual abuse, and she has also been to our Haven retreat. So I thought it'd be really nice to have her on today to speak on that and share her experience, to encourage other people to, one, be aware of what's going on and to try and help others that are going through it, been through it, and to also encourage people that may be sitting there suffering in silence, to let them know there is somewhere that you can go to find information, you can find help. There's other people here that are willing to talk to you as well. We were going to have Tanya as well on, but unfortunately Tanya is sick, so she's unable to join us this evening, but hopefully, all being well, Tanya will be here with us next weekend. So I'm going to hand over to Alicia and let her introduce herself, because she knows herself better. So yeah, go for it, Alicia. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Alicia Matheson, and in 2014, I decided to join Younique, and their whole corporation was based on missions for helping women. And it came about that they had you do a video, which I did a before and an after the retreat, where I come out for the first time discussing that I had been a child that had been sexually abused as a child. Unfortunately, it was by my biological father. And when I joined Younique, I felt like I wanted to, you know, put on makeup again and feel better about myself. And I had no idea that in opening that door, it opened up me for healing in so many ways that I'm just humbled and blown away by how the corporation is set up to help women like me. You know, the childhood sexual abuse forms you from a young age. And it gives you shame and self-hate that you really don't belong having. But like I've explained to others, when you are a child, if you have an action, it's either a good or a bad action, like, naughty girl, good girl. And what did I do to deserve that? That is what your childhood mind will say. And I was 6 and under with the abuse. There was also physical abuse. And thank God my mom got away from that. And my dad adopted me, and he was a marvelous father. But I had to process it, and I did it best by blocking it until I was in my 30s and 40s. And then it was like with the foundation retreat, I started talking about it. And I think I bawled all day that first video talking about it and what something like this could mean. And then my next step was filling out the application, which I think my hand shook as I filled it out. And then I hunt, and I was up hunting, and they gave me the call that somebody couldn't go because they were sick. And I thought, well, I've not had it as bad as others, but I thought, I think I need this. I think I need to heal. I think I need to walk past this, because so many people will say forgive and forget. And through all my Bible studies, I don't know where you all are at, but I study the Bible a lot, and we're not to forget. We are to forgive, but we're not to forget. And in it, I realized I needed to heal, and that just blocking it out, it's like that elephant in the room. It's always there. It's always a part of how you were founded.
Yeah.
And so they called me, and I got home at 4 p.m. I went to bed. I think I got it back up at 4. And I drove all the way to Salt Lake, and going up the valley, I called my daughters. And this is very typical of all the other women, that they about backed out going up the valley. It's something where it's like, I buried this a long time. It stinks. And so I called my daughters, and they said, no, go. You need to go. This is important. And so I went. And I cannot say enough how those 4 days were transformational. Did they heal everything? No. Do you need more counseling? It's possible I did. But they also give you resources for that in your own community. And if you're within the Salt Lake or Georgia range, I believe they have counselors there that can help you.
Wow.
The only thing you have to cover is your travel expenses. But those 4 days we had where, as a child of sexual abuse, you weren't able to say no. What 5-year-old can tell an adult man, stop, no, stop? You can't physically enforce it. There's nothing you can do. And they gave us the power to say no. And that was transformational for me, because I had not really told many people no in my life. I felt like that had been torn from me at 5 years old. And so to be able to say no, or to say my opinion, or actually be listened to, was mind-blowing. And one of the other gals actually validated, for the first time in my life. I had talked to others, but nobody says, I believe you, Alicia. I see that you've been through this.
Yeah.
And she validated it, and it broke me, because I'm that person. I'll help everybody else, but I don't want to talk about my elephant in the room. I buried that thing. Yeah. But really, it keeps coming up, because it comes up in many different ways. And so then they made us feel like queens. They made really good meals. There were exercises that kind of, showed things that, kind of helped you work and process things. And then we did like a group session, and that kind of, that was really kind of really helpful, because these were women that had been through the same thing I had been through. They weren't judging me. They weren't saying, oh, you're making too much of this. Oh, this is something you shouldn't talk about. And then they did like a makeover. And for every one of us, that was tough, because you don't feel beautiful. You feel ugly and dirty. And it was the most hard thing for all of us to do, is to let them do our makeup and do a photo session. And after I was done, I felt like I'd climbed a mountain. I felt like I had conquered something in me that had been there forever. And so then when I got back home, I went through more counseling. And then I started working on a number of issues. And those of you that don't know me, when I went to the foundation retreat, I was 161 pounds heavier, and working all of that out, and then working more on my emotional, mental, and physical and spiritual, I hit a place where I was healthy all the way around. I had learned to love me where I was at. And so I started working out, and I went to keto. It's not for everybody, but I lost 160 pounds, and it just felt like the elephant in the room had been worked off of me.
Yeah. That's amazing. That really is amazing that that complete turnaround that you had. What was it that made you fill in the application? Because like we've got Tanya. I think Tanya's done it now though. I think she took the challenge and has done it now. But obviously, like she said before, she kept putting it off. And I've heard of other people that haven't applied, because I don't know, it's fear or whatever the reason. But what was it for you that made you fill it in and send it off?
Well, my sponsor, I talked to her about it, and I said, I think, I thought about applying. She says, why haven't you yet? And I said, well, I don't know. I don't feel like, I don't feel really worthy of it. And she's like, why? Why are you less worthy? Why is your story less? It's not. You are worthy of being healthy and feeling better about you. And so I thought about that, and I thought, well, I did it with her in mind, but that and convention are some of the most irreplaceable experiences for personal growth and the personal development I've been through. And talking to other women and getting other women encouraged to go, or online if you need to. There is support groups. There's online workshop things that you can do online that can help you and maybe get you ready to go. Because burying it's just like, if you have sewer in your basement, that stink is not going to go away till you clean it out. And you have to clean out what happened in the basement of your life. Right.
That's a really good way of putting it. Let me see if there's any comments for you. And let me go back. Tanya, Alicia, you're incredible, so brave. It's thanks to you ladies that I've now applied for the Haven. Yeah, she's done it. Haven retreat.
Proud of you.
And which I would never have done without your encouragement. Yeah, very proud of you, Tanya. Well done. So Tanya has applied, and then she said, yes, you can never forget. You can heal, forgive, learn to deal with the trauma, but it never leaves you. Marva's here, and she says, you're one amazing, strong woman. And again, and Marva's a woman of faith. She says, yes, you can never forget, but God will help you with the healing. Tanya's sending you big hugs. And let's see, who else is saying? Marva's saying, congratulations for the weight loss. It's that initial first step. This is what Marva says. It's the initial first step you have to take to get the help. And that's probably the hardest, is that initial step, and then the next step actually going, I guess, right? You said going up that hill and then deciding, no, I can't do this, and you reaching out to your children. So how would you say you are different today after doing all of that to how you were before?
I feel like I changed and flipped from being somebody that was negative, that felt I can't be better. I felt like I couldn't love myself. I was unworthy of love. And I felt like through this healing process, God gave me, you are no less a gift than your husband and your children and your family.
Right.
And that was mind blowing, because that is one of the things as a child of sexual abuse, that you feel dirty and ugly and unlovable because that thing happened to you. But I feel like I see myself as possible, as lovable as I can. I have more to me. I can be positive. I can flip what was meant for bad into what can be good.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. You've done that, and you've raised children as well. I mean, did you find that was hard to have children? And you said you got girls, right? Was it girls you said
Two
you
girls
got?
and a boy. Yeah.
Right. How did you parent with your trauma?
I didn't let my kids go anywhere very often. I didn't let them out of my sight. It was hard for me to trust my husband until he brought it up to me that I wasn't. And I felt really horrible about that.
Mm.
And I had to flip that too, because it's like, he's a good man. This isn't the same. I have to separate what happened to what is. And not everybody is that way. You can't. It's kind of like saying one crayon in the box is bad, so they're all bad. You can't do that.
Yeah, absolutely right. And your children, obviously they know what happened to you.
Yeah.
And did that affect them in any way? Did it, how?
Well,
People
it did
don't tell their
affect them because it
families.
was hard for me to let them go. If they spent the night, even, I had to interview the parents and I had to be comfortable, and it wasn't something they just were allowed to go do, because honestly, I think I'd have wanted to kill someone for touching my daughters.
Yeah.
I wanted to protect them from what happened to me not happening to them or my son.
Yeah, exactly. Tanya's asking, what do they do at the retreat? So food session activities is what they do. Is there anything else? Is there anything in particular that they do that really stood out to you? Because I know we've seen some videos. You do I can never say the words, where you smash the bowl.
Yeah. I forget what that's called, because it's kind of it's a Japanese word.
It's a Japanese
basically
word.
What
yeah.
it is it's once you smash the bowl, that was kind of really impactful. And I have a book on it. I call it wasabi pea, but it's kind of a Chinese word, so I'm not very good at saying it, or Japanese. But once you put it together, they had us use gold paint. And it just kind of reminded me, and this may seem weird to some people, but I had a vision of God when I was feeling so horrible and ugly at one point, and he showed me from within my heart him healing and welding the pieces of my heart back together, and then going back and healing the weld. And it shows you that even though your life has been broken in pieces, you can put it back together. And they had you use gold, and it can be refined and be even stronger and better.
That's amazing. That is really amazing. Marva, the protection would have been great. You just wanted your children to be by your side at all times. And Tanya says, I get there. I'm overprotective with my children. Only selected few have my children, and that's my mother-in-law and my best friend. That's it, because she always worries as well. She has that same, I can't say the word, Tanya. I can never remember. Kensui? That's not how you say it at all. But I know what it is with the smashing of the bowl. Yeah, and Sergi's here. Hey Sergi, she said this is really inspiring. Yeah, I think it's incredible that you've come through. I mean, what happened to you so young as well. So it's a lot of years that you've carried that. When did you go to the retreat?
I think it was in 2015, 2016.
That's a long time.
It is. And there's a lot of women that were even older than I was, and they were sexually abused as children. And it was so taboo, and it was not talked about. And that's another thing that's so great, is they give you age appropriate ways to talk to your children, because there is nobody that wants their child to experience this. And I might be wrong, but I don't believe a sexual abuser ever heals from that. I don't think they change. And I felt great conviction when I went to the retreat that I had never taken my abuser to court, because I know he had to have done it to others. Right. But when I talked to the other ladies, they said that it's almost like being raped again, to go to court. And it's not that,
Right.
it's not that it's a bad idea if you can, but it had been over 40 years. So there's nothing, it's like at that point, what proof do you have? It's your word against theirs. And it's just one of those things where I just had to pray for his salvation. I had to pray for me, and I just had to work through my stuff. And it was all I could do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's understandable, because to have to go 40 years later and have to go through all of that again, that's tough. And you've got your family that would go through that with you as well. It wouldn't be just you, right?
Right.
Everybody around you would be going through that with you as well. Tanya says court is difficult. I was 12 when I went, and it was traumatizing. Yeah, I can't even imagine to have to stand in front of somebody that's done something like that to you, and you're trying to convince people that you're telling the truth. Like, I just can't even, as a kid, like, that's traumatizing as an adult, but let alone as a kid, like, that's, I just can't. And I just think, like Marva's just said, corporate, you're bloody amazing, wonderful even, but they're right, for them to have something like that people can go to and take, use, I think is incredible. And more people need to be aware of it, that is there, because I don't think a lot of people, unless you're part of Younique, I don't know how many people know that that's there, because it's open to anybody, right? You don't have to be.
Right. Out of the 7 that went on mine, 3 of us were presenters, and the others knew presenters that had said you should go. Right. They helped them fill out the stuff, and they encouraged them. And so I just would love that healing for more women, because it's transformational, and to work through that and get to a point where it's not torturing you all the time, or your thoughts aren't so dark. I mean, you see a light at the end of the tunnel. You see that people have gone through it. And I know of several of the ladies at my retreat that had gone through court, and every one of them said that it was almost like being re-traumatized all over again. And I don't want to discourage for somebody to stand up to stop a perpetrator, but I know that there's a statute of limitations unless it's like your biological, but I think that it's a hard thing, and it's a personal choice.
Yeah.
Especially for time that, that's gone by.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to agree with you on that. Marva says she has 9 grandchildren, 2 girls in between. When my daughter is going anywhere, I tell her to bring them to me, because she just can't. She can't cope not knowing where they are. Tanya saying we are blessed to have Saprea. We definitely need to talk more about it, even if you're not even ever being sexually abused. You can be the voice for those who don't have one, and share with them that there's help. And yeah, 100%, I agree. Like, so for any presenters that may be watching, and I think Alicia would probably agree, is we need to be talking about it more. We need to be sharing the information more and letting people know, because those people might not come forward and say to you, that happened to me. They may be watching, like there may be people, I'm not saying there is, but there may be somebody that sees this live and you'd never know, but may go and apply. But if we're not talking about it, people don't know, and we need to talk about it more. We need to share about it more, and not, I know it's a sensitive subject, and it can be difficult to know what to say or how to say it without triggering, because like you said before we came on, Alicia said, I said to Alicia, is there anything you don't want me to say or ask, because I don't want to obviously upset you. And Alicia was like, she isn't worried about herself. She was like, I'm worried that I might say something that will trigger somebody else that may be watching, that's been through it. So it's really hard, but we need to speak about it more. We do, and we need to share the information more and let people know. And I am making that decision to share more on my actual Facebook, because I only share it in my group and on my business page, but I don't share it on my actual Facebook. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's been out of I don't know why that is, if I'm honest with you, why I haven't, but I'm making that as of from today. I wanted to do this first so that people knew what it was. I'm going to be sharing every Saturday. That's my day that I will be sharing information about Saprea. And if I can get, other people to come and do a live or whatever, then I'm happy to do that as well and talk about it more. So why sisters? Why brothers? We need to be, if we really want to support and help, we need to be doing that, right?
Well, yeah, and then it's very important to me that everybody knows that there is online resources, because some people are not healed enough, if that makes sense, to go physically somewhere else.
Yes.
But if they can work through some of the basics online, there are some resources online that they actually have, and some very helpful, informative things that can help you.
That's
And
really good.
I just really think that that meets people where they need. Plus, there are support groups all over the world. I can't say enough that whatever can help you get on that path to healing can totally flip you from what was meant by somebody else. You know, that destroys a young child. The way I envisioned it as a child, I felt like I was an eagle and I could see myself flying, and then my wings were clipped.
Right.
And now that I've healed, I see myself as the eagle flying again. You know, I'm free to be me again. It's like it takes something from you, and it's going to the retreat. It's like I was given something back, and going through the counseling, I was given more back, and working through my healing and my personal development and everything.
Yeah.
I feel like my wings have grown back.
Right. That's amazing. That's really incredible. That's really amazing. Yeah, I think you're right. And is there any advice that you would give anybody that is a parent, or doesn't even have to be a parent, people that are around children, what to look out for, what to spot, or if a child comes to you and says something, what to say or not say? Is there any advice that you would give, that you, being through it, that you...
I would look at the defend innocence, because it's all age appropriate, and it all gives you like things to look for, things to help them with. And they have really researched well as to what's age appropriate to talk about, because old school, they used to scare the crap out of you. Oh, don't go to a stranger. And they perpetrated them as somebody ugly and bad and evil. And that's not the truth. You take a look at serial killers. Ted Bundy was not bad looking. How many women did he kill? It's not always that thing, it's like we're all afraid of spiders. It's not always, the ugly thing is not always somebody that appears ugly right off. And so there needs to be things, like, don't go with somebody that says they've lost their dog. I mean, there's some obvious things, but I really recommend going through the defend innocence and looking through that, because it's so fact-based, it's so age appropriate. Instead of just scaring the crap out of them, it gives them, things that they can look at, because it's really popular to say, okay, I've got a dog, and they take a child. It's really simple. Because that doesn't seem like a bad person, somebody with a puppy.
No, that's right. That's right. That's right. 100%. I think Tanya was saying something. Link above, that what has been talked about this evening has affected you in any way you want to find. Right, thanks Tanya for sharing the link. She shared the link. Tanisha say hi. Tanisha, she's like, I've never left my boys with anyone, let alone my daughter. Tanya's advice is believe your child, or any child that tells you that they've been hurt or are feeling like something isn't right. So many times people don't believe, and we all want all we want is to be heard. And that seems to be the common denominator. Like when I hear people talking about, they all say nobody believed me, and that baffles my brain, because I can't imagine my child or any child coming to me and saying so and so did something, and me being like, stop lying. Like I can't imagine an adult saying that, but that's
Well, it's because a lot of times it's somebody that you know, it's a family member more times than it's not. It's somebody that you think highly of. One of the women, it was her grandfather, and she talked to her parents and they wouldn't believe her. And her grandfather ended up committing suicide because he was outed. Now,
oh
that's not okay.
no. Oh wow. That is not okay. Yeah.
You know, you think about it and you think, well, you know, you try to tell somebody that you trust, like a parent or somebody like that, and it's just,
it's scary. And then you get the instances where it is I remember I had something where my youngest, I can't remember how old they were actually, but I was at work and they were with their dad. He was looking after them for the evening while I was at work. We weren't together, but he was having them for the evening so I could go to work. And my youngest got sick and his temperature got really high. So he messaged me to say, I'm going to take him to the hospital because his temperature is really high and whatever. And I said, okay, fine, I'm leaving work, I'll meet you there. And when we got there and whatever, all was fine. But my eldest at the time, God, I can't remember how old Reese was. I cannot remember. He was still in primary school. I remember he was in primary school. And the doctor was seeing to Levi, my youngest, and the doctor was having a little bit of a joke and a giggle with Reese. And I can't remember exactly what happened, but Reese had said, yeah, me and Daddy play fight all the time. Sometimes he punches me in the face, or he squeezes me really tight, or something or other, like, you know, innocently. But a week later, I had a phone call from the authorities saying that there'd been a report that their dad was abusing the boys. And I was just kind of like, I don't understand where that came from. It was really, really bizarre. Like, how did that? So it's difficult as well, isn't it? Because that was an innocent, nothing had happened. There was nothing had happened, but it did make me think for a second, hang on a minute, have I missed something here? But it wasn't, it was all innocent. But I just didn't understand. So it confuses me when you've got that situation and you've got blatant children being abused, and there's
right,
hard evidence written all over that child that they've been abused, and they get missed for, you know, whether they're not believed, it's not picked up, or whatever it is. It baffles my brain. I don't understand how that happens. Do you understand what I mean? I find it very strange.
yeah. Well, and part of it is, it's like I said, if it's a family member or if it's somebody that the family knows really well, I know of several instances from several different people where it's like it was a family member or something like that. And it's like, you don't want to believe that's in your family.
Yeah.
You know, or it may be a guy that seemingly seems like a stand-up person, or, you know, even women are sexual abusers. And some of them, it's just like, you just don't, it's not something that people can fathom. It just, you know, I mean, that may not be how they see that person or they know that person.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, especially, you know, my mother passed away, but she could admit to a friend that it had happened, but she's like, I just don't see that happening because he was this and that. And, you know, because he was an alcoholic and he messed around a lot. And it's like, I don't understand why that doesn't mean it couldn't have happened.
Yeah.
I never liked it. And that was one of the things for counseling. I had to be, you know, I felt bad because there were people that had been abused worse and still loved their parent in many ways.
Right.
And I felt shame for that, because it's like, you know, it's the myth that you always bond with your biological. Well, if there's things like that, then that's not a natural thing, you know? And so I just think that so many people, it's not something you want to believe is happening, or you want to believe is happening to your child. But I knew in my heart that no matter what anybody else can deal with, I have to deal with it because I deal with it every day.
Yeah.
And I could not deal with the pressure of despising myself for something that happened to me when I was little.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't in your control.
Right.
That's just, you know.
But I had to take back the control. And that's something that a lot of us have noticed too, is that we all like to plan. We like to have things in control because control's an illusion, and we know that firsthand. But to feel like you have some control of your life back is just strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Tanya was saying 8% is someone you know, 20% is a stranger. So never assume it's always going to be a stranger, because it's not. Tanya's also saying they do, even when there's evidence right in front of them, they tell you you're lying. It's heartbreaking because you're shouting out for help because you want it to stop and no one is listening. With me, I had bruises, I had bleeding, love bites. Oh my gosh. And I think why didn't anybody listen? It wasn't, oh, just lost it. It wasn't till I told a teacher, the police got involved. And I remember my mum shouting I was a liar, and the copper had to hold her back. She didn't believe me till I had to go to the hospital for checks. And the 2 nurses started crying because my scar tissue was so bad. They didn't even know if I could have children. And then it went to court, but that's how bad it was, with your loved ones not believing till it was way too late. And that is just so sad. And that's the thing, it's so sad. We need to do better to protect young children. We need to do better, like, you know. And there's so many places now that children can get lost in and be speaking.
Well, yeah, and typically those people that have that interest seem to pick out things where they can be around children. Not 100% of the time, but a lot of them do. And I remember old school finding out if a teacher got in trouble in one district, they could go to a whole nother state and it's like their slate was wiped clean. To me, that is just sick.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't get that either. It should follow through. I don't know if it's like that here in the UK.
I would hope they changed it, but I know a few years back they could change to another school district, and it's like, that's insane, because to let somebody like that, who is an animal, into another school is just,
yeah,
it's
I
like,
agree. That shouldn't happen. Shouldn't it? That should walk with you wherever you walk, right? It shouldn't be wiped clean because you've left that area and moved to another. That's crazy, because the way they feel hasn't been wiped clean. They haven't healed and suddenly, you know, they're repenting. They're still the same person, right? So that shouldn't be the thing at all. We do need to do better. We need to save the next generation for sure and keep educating. 100%. And that's why I really wanted to do this. So Alicia, thank you. And Tanya, when you come on, thank you as well, because I don't know. So you're the first person, I think, Alicia, that I've met that has been to the Haven that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's probably other people around me that have been, but I'm not connected to them, so I wouldn't know. So it was really, I was like, oh wow, it's amazing to meet somebody that's been there and, you know, been through it and come out the other end, and you're still here and you're still working on yourself every day, and you're still trying to help other people out there. I mean, that's commendable. Some people, as you know, don't make it. They're broken for the rest of their lives.
No. Well, there's so many things. I mean, there's PTSD, there's all kinds of other disorders that happen because of this, because it's, you think, you know, you realize I was 5. You think about that from 0 to 5, you're foundational.
Yep, that's right.
And I remembered for so many years, until I went through all the counseling and everything, I remembered more from 0 to 6 than I did growing up the rest of the time, because the rest of the time was untraumatic. I mean, it wasn't that I didn't have scar tissue in myself, but it was more of a normal childhood.
Yeah. I just can't even. It's got us. We got to do better, people. Tanisha, it's common for parents to be in denial. Many parents are also being abused by the abuser in other ways that impact on their parenting. I ended up leaving home and being raised as a ward of the state. That's Tanisha. She's actually in my downline. She's in my team. But yeah, I can see that as well. If that parent is being abused by the abuser as well, then that makes it very difficult as well, isn't it? But I think the more we know, the better we can do, and the more supportive we can be to others that may come reach out to you and say this is happening, or whether that's a child, an adult, whatever, that you can be empathetic and understanding rather than just shutting it down. So we need to do better. We need to be out there talking about it, though it's a difficult subject, but nobody's on here going through detail to detail of what happened. So people don't need to know that part, but we need to be speaking on it more. We need to be sharing more and encouraging people that we may know to go and get the help and support that they need.
Well, or even helping adults to figure out how to talk to other adults or children that are survivors, because when I went through the counseling, it was horrifying to my counselors when I talked about the things that happened and how old I was, and they're just envisioning me. The picture that you put up was a picture of me at that and me now, putting the hand over the face, like yours. And so they just, when you think about that, it's just horrifying to somebody that was brought up and didn't have that happen in their life. And so then it's like, it's just, you just can't imagine the things. Part of the reason I was overweight was I felt safer. It's not a true thing, but it's like, kind of like that saying that's kind of stupid, and everybody laughs, but it's really not funny. Who's going to take the fat kid? And it's like every time before when I started to lose the weight, it's like I would have a stop, and it's like I would self-sabotage, and I got, okay, wait a minute, something's going on here. This is not okay.
Wow.
And I started looking at it, and that's how I helped break that cycle, is because I can't stop what happened to me. It's done. It's over. And I am working through it, but I can't keep self-sabotaging myself. It's like they say, it's like somebody hurts you and it's like giving yourself poison that's meant for somebody else that hurts you. You're only hurting yourself. They've moved on and they're doing their own lives, and it's not affecting them. It's affecting you, and it's taking you down.
Yeah.
So quit taking the poison that was meant for somebody else and just heal, because healing and coming out stronger on the other end, that's important.
It is. I think somebody's asking a question. Kim's here. Hey Kim, do you think that Younique will be expanding across the world, or is it just in the States? No, it is expanding, Kim. I only asked because the business has expanded. It would be nice to help more people. They are, and Tanya's answered, they're expanding to Europe. Like, this is what I'm saying, why sisters, you need to go and check out the page. Go to their page. They have a Facebook page, or they have Instagram, they have a website. Like, you have to, if you truly want to support, then you need to do your own education by going and checking it out yourself, so that you can then tell people you know what you're talking about when you're speaking about it, right? Because you've been on there, you see what resources are.
Well, and when I went, it was only in Salt Lake, and then it's like they made the building in Salt Lake, and then it's now in Georgia and Salt Lake.
That's right.
And they are looking at Europe. I'm not sure where exactly in Europe, but I do know that they're headed that way, because how can you not? It's not something that's just central to one country.
That's right. And there's going to be many people in Europe that would love to, that want to go, but getting to Salt Lake, that's expensive for them, and finances or whatever it is. Or I'm assuming that could be triggering, that they're traveling quite far away from their home, their family. That could be also triggering.
Yeah.
So they need to have more, but they are working on that, Kim. I think they will eventually have loads all over the place, but obviously it's bit by bit, right? And there are, like you said, the support groups are everywhere. And this is where
they have to set it up where they have the people trained the way that they want them, because it's set up to do. They've done a lot of research. It's really well thought out. It's not something that they just flew by the seat of their pants and just decided here's how it goes.
Yeah, that's right. And there's support groups as well. There's lots of support groups, Kim, where, like, I could set up a support group. I wouldn't, because I don't feel that, unless I was working with someone, I wouldn't do it on my own, because I don't have the experience of the trauma. So how could I help those women work through it, if that makes sense. But you know, there are people, I know there's somebody in Ireland who does really well, but people just like me, like you, that set up these support groups in church halls and stuff to help support these women. And Saprea will give you all of the information, will give you everything you need to be able to do that, if that's something that you want to do in where you live. Like, you can do that. Kim, that's Kim. Just, I've been in the business since 2009, then left and came back, and it's only ever been on the other side of the pond. Yeah, it has. It has, Kim. You're right. It's only been in the States all of this time, but they are looking to expand. But it's one of those things that you can't just do overnight. It takes a lot of planning, finding the right location, because again, you will notice, Alicia, where the retreat is, it's pretty much in the middle of nowhere, isn't it? It's not
Well,
like,
yeah, because they don't want, I think it's kind of that way to kind of make women feel safe.
Yeah.
You know, feel like people aren't just thinking, I know what that building is, I know why they're going.
Yeah.
It's to give them that protection.
Absolutely. So therefore,
and to give you an idea of how protective they are, I went to a convention after I had been, and I saw one of the gals that I had met there, and I went up to her, and it's like, do you recognize me? She says, yes. But she was not going to wave at me. She was not going to act like she knew me, because that is a part of what they do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's right. So building new ones, they need to find the right locations that are completely secluded for that very reason. So that's something that takes a lot of time. Never had the Kim, just, I've never had the right support here in the UK. I was pretty much told to get on with it. I think, Kim, it's the same. I don't think it's at whatever country you're in, that the story seems to be the same. The support hasn't been there. But we are blessed that we are part of a company that wants to give that support, and they're doing their very best, right, to give that. They do want to expand, and I think in the pipeline in the future that it will also be open to men as well, right, in the future. Don't quote me when that will be.
That's where they, I've seen that too, where they are looking towards that. But right now they're doing just women, just so everybody knows. But it's not that they don't realize that that's not happened to men as well as a child.
Yeah, absolutely. Has anyone got any other questions for Alicia, or anything you want to ask, or anything you want to say to her? I think she's incredibly brave. I think you've done an amazing job on yourself, getting through that, coming out on the other side, and being able to recognize your own traumas and areas that you've needed to work on. You've done that. Nobody's done that for you. You did it. You've done that yourself. And like I said, a lot of people don't survive it. Like, I don't mean they've left the planet. I mean, some unfortunately have taken their own lives because they couldn't
taking it day by day, hour by hour.
You know, you're amazing, and I hope you know that. I hope you know that now, that you are amazing. It wasn't your fault, and you're doing amazing things now. Look what you're doing tonight. You don't know whose heart you might have touched, who you might have inspired this evening, just from you being you and being open to share your story. I think that's, I just can't tell you enough. I think it's absolutely amazing. Somebody's got a question. Thanks. Someone got a question? Justin, Kim, questions. What question? You got a question? Did you? Is that what you're saying, Kim? She's put question, but there's nothing else. If you got a question, Kim. Oh, I think she was saying thanks for answering those questions. Okay, I get it. Tanisha says, I'm proud of you and appreciate you sharing. So everybody really appreciate it. Guys, feel free to share this live so that more people can see it and we spread this around. No, I said thanks for answering the questions. Yes, I got it, Kim, I got it. So feel free to share this around. And if there's anybody in here that's watched this, has got any questions and wants to reach out to Alicia, I'm sure she'll be more than happy to speak to you. You can drop in her inbox. Drop in her inbox and have a chat with her if you feel you need to. She's open to that. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a real pleasure to have you, and Tanya will be here next week. And Alicia, if you ever want to come back and speak or share anything, I'm always open for it. Like, you can just say, SJ, you free tonight? Or whatever, just shout. I'm more than happy to use my Facebook, your whatever, to share whatever. I'm open to that. I'm really grateful that you said yes to coming and joining me tonight, especially because we only did it the other day with Deanna, and I was kind of like, is it too much? Like, I didn't know if it was going to be triggering you. Like, you know, I was little bit worried about that, but you've been absolutely amazing. You really have. So thank you for that. I'm going to let Alicia go, guys, so that she can get on with the rest of her day. I can't see any other questions, so I'm assuming nobody has any. But like I said, please feel free to jump in her inbox if you want to have a chat with her. You know, if you've got questions, jump in her inbox and speak to her. Okay, she is tagged in the post, so you'll be able to find her. Alicia, thank you very much. Have you got anything else planned for the rest of the day today?
Oh, I've got to go to a baby reveal here quick.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's lovely. We'll have an amazing rest of your evening, and I will speak to you soon. Thank you so much for coming today. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Lots of love. See you later. Bye. Bye, guys.